I painted seven footballers during the last 2022 World Cup, and I'm going to talk about the things that I learned about inspiration during that time. The first thing I learned about inspiration is that inspiration is sort of like a visitor, and you need to act whenever it's hot, right? So the thing about inspiration is that whenever people look at something, let's say they watch a movie or they watch a TV series or they read a comic, finish reading a comic, or let's say they go to an event, right, and they are inspired, they have like this huge emotions about the event. A lot of the time people try to suppress that emotion, that is coming due to like that curiosity that they're having about that event, to go out and do research and probably create something, from that experience that has created that emotion, right? A lot of the time people are always worried about this video that I'm going to make about this event that I've just gone to, or this thing that I've just watched, or this comic or this novel that I've just read. Is it going to do well? Are people going to like the video? Am I going to feel good about creating the video? Maybe am I going to be able to create something nice, right? People worry a lot about the perfection of the thing that they're going to create from the inspiration that they've just had. And a lot of the time, that is not how it works. And if you are someone that is a creative, right, you should follow that inspiration relentlessly, because inspiration is like a visitor. It stays with you for a few minutes, not a few minutes, for a brief period of time, and then it fades, right? And during that process, what really helps for you to be able to get something out of that emotion, if you are like a creative, is for you to act on it. And some of the best works come from inspiration. And I'm not saying like inspiration is something you should wait for. I'm personally someone that favors the thoughts that you actually need discipline, you actually need consistency for you to be able to become a master of something and actually like create on the spot without necessarily having to watch something or watch a video or a motivational video before you actually work. But whenever inspiration strikes, it is important to act. Another thing I learned is that it is very important for you to develop momentum. So most people think that inspiration is the first thing that happens to them, right? When really it is curiosity. Curiosity is the first thing that comes. You're like, I went to this event. Like, what usually happens in this event? This is my first time experiencing this event. Like, what is this event about? Like, maybe you read about a historical figure, you hear about a historical figure in a movie, and then you go and like do a research about that historical figure, and you find that historical figure inspiring. That is curiosity, and most people don't allow themselves to be curious because they feel that it may lead them to chase something that they may then create, and then people wouldn't like it. Like at the end of the day, everybody is caring about what other people think. But the thing about art a lot of the time is that you need to create time to create things for yourself, because that is the essence of why we actually started becoming artists or started becoming creatives in the first place. Whether it's a novel you're writing, whether it's you're a videographer or a cinematographer, or like you're a photographer, or you're somebody that does crafts, there is something that led you to start that in the first place. And the reason why we keep going, or that the thing that will keep us in the game for a very long period of time, is these moments where we just get this burst of inspiration and we become curious about something. Because sometimes the curiosity is just something that happens to you, right? You just get so inspired and interested in something, and then you then chase this information, and then it leads you to act and create something that serves as a memento of that particular moment that you just had. You don't always consciously decide an interest, right? Sometimes an interest just comes to you. Sometimes an interest, you could say that an interest chooses you, and that can manifest, and like that interest that has actually chosen you can manifest in the form of something that you ended up creating. So that interest could be something like a comic book, a historical figure, a video that you just watched, a documentary. It could be a novel that you just read. It could be anything. But whenever this curiosity arrives, you need to chase it aggressively and then act aggressively at the same time, because creating momentum is what is actually going to lead you to be actually inspired to create more art. The thing is that I give myself these challenges as I'm developing as an artist. So let's say if I'm trying to learn about something, whether that be composition, perspective, anatomy, I always try to give myself challenges, so that it creates urgency, right? And I have a list of the things to do. So I don't need to wait for before inspiration starts. That first initial inspiration or that first initial idea is something that I'm acting on. So I don't always have to sit down bored or like get like burnt out, because I always have something that I'm always looking forward to. So it could be a group of anatomy studies that I'm going to do for a couple of weeks. It could be a group of perspective studies or composition studies or portrait paintings that I know I'm going to work on, where I'm actually focusing on just one aspect that I want to develop in my art. Why it's important to follow that skill, follow that inspiration, follow that curiosity is because it's always going to leave something tangible behind. Well, both tangible and intangible, to be fair, because skill is something that is quite intangible. It's something that nobody can take away from you, unless they chop off your hands, of course. But it's something, it always leaves something behind. Whenever you have an inspiration and then you develop momentum and act on it, you follow that your curiosity, at the end of the day you end up with something tangible, whether that be a painting, whether that be a high quality video, whether that be a photograph that you created. It serves as a memory or something tangible of that particular inspiration you got. And it also creates a new skill, because it could be, like I said in my case, it could be a challenge that you give yourself, that okay, I'm going to learn anatomy and these are the studies I'm going to do to perfect this anatomy. And then by the end of the study you come out a skilled artist in terms of structure and anatomy. Another thing I learned during this time when I did this painting is that the things you are creating when you are inspired don't always have to be a masterpiece. You just have to start, right? You just have to start creating movements. You just have to start executing, right? You just have to start with one little thing, and then eventually later on you can then perfect it to whatever level that you did. For me, when I was doing these paintings, this was the time when I was still figuring out my art style, what I was very comfortable with, and I just decided to do these quick sketches, right? These paintings didn't take a long time. They didn't take a lot of time to do, but because of how I just had this urgency to just get things done, I wasn't complicating things too much. You'd see that a lot of the paintings that I was doing, I was actually they were actually flat. I was just using like very little amounts of values. If you look at the value ranges, if I were to convert it to black and white, the value ranges are not much. They're quite few, especially like if you look at the person's face and then look at the person's clothes and you look at the person's background. The background might be a different case because I might just add like a Gaussian blur. But a lot of the times, I'm not chasing perfection with all of these things. I'm just trying to express the emotion I'm feeling. Maybe I see a footballer score a goal and it was such a hype moment and it just poured something within me to just paint that particular footballer, right? And the point is to just get it out there in the first place. Just get it out there, make it exist, and then you can perfect it later. Those are just the quick things that I learned from the paintings that I did during that time, like about inspiration. And it's currently another World Cup and I'm feeling a little bit inspired. And to be fair, I've actually did some paintings of recent. I just did one because of the feeling I got from that previous World Cup. I'm feeling a bit inspired this time, and I was able to create some paintings. Initially, I was trying to create a series where I just painted some tweets. I wasn't able to do that. Same thing I was talking about inspiration. So sometimes the inspiration might strike and you might not act on it, or you might start and then not conclude. I actually thought about creating a series. I've already archived a lot of tweets, a series of tweets that I'm going to paint. I've actually archived a lot of tweets that I'm going to paint, and it's something I'm still going to follow up to, but this was just the start. And it took me back to 2022 when I was just figuring out my style, and I was just doing these paintings, these simple sketch paintings. And the whole process taught me about why inspiration is valuable. It's not necessarily valuable because of the emotion, is valuable because of what you can use that emotion to do. Because at the end of the day, once you've actually acted on that inspiration, you've acted on that curiosity, you could come out at the end of it with something, whether that be a skill, whether that be an artwork that you could possibly sell, or that you can keep on as a memory, whether that even be a photograph or a video that you make. Yeah, but it can manifest as something tangible or something intangible in the form of a skill. So inspiration is very important, and whenever you get it, chase curiosity relentlessly. And it doesn't have to be perfect what you're starting. Like, look at these drawings that I did over here. There's a lot of rough lines here and there, and that was basically me just following my sketch straight up. I wasn't trying to make anything like clean, and it just added some spark of life to the drawing that I was actually doing. Hopefully, in this current World Cup 2026 World Cup, I'll be able to create some paintings. I've already created one, which is this Anthony Gordon one that I did. I actually painted this live in one sitting. I actually see a lot of mistakes in this painting. But whenever I do paintings like this, that it's not like I'm not taking them seriously, but I'm just trying to pour out the emotion that I already have on the canvas, and it will defeat the point of that sporadic execution if I'm always nitpicky about the painting itself. It looks like the character I was trying to create, it might not be perfect, and I know there are ways that I could perfect it, because I was even having doubts whilst I was painting it and I wanted to adjust it, but I just wanted to do it in one sitting and get done with it and move to the next thing. That's sort of the stage I am in my life, to be honest. Anyways, I might paint some footballers this World Cup, because I'm actually enjoying this World Cup. I'm watching a lot of the matches, so I might do some paintings or I might not. It depends on whether or not I act on the inspiration. I'm not a perfect human being. I'm just here to express what I feel about the art that I create. Anyways, I'll see you guys. Hope you have a lovely day.